प्रथम सबको बोलो जल्दी ज्वाइन करने। Okay, I start with the lecture. Good morning, everyone. So we have already started with the first lesson, that is the database concept. We have already completed what does a database management system means. Then what are the differences between the database management system along with the previously used file management system. We have also seen the drawbacks of the file management system and how those drawbacks are being removed in the database management system. After that, we had seen what are the different types of data models. First one was a relational data model, where the data was represented in the form of a tables having rows and columns. Then next was entity relationship model, that is ER model, where the entire model or data was represented in the form of some diagrammatic representation, where we had some entities and every entity was having a relationship with some another entity. Then we had also seen a network model, where the network model, it was in a form of a hierarchy. Every entity was connected to some or the another entity in some or the other way, but there was no relationship between them. Then we had also seen after that there are different languages which we use to communicate with the database. So if a user wants to communicate with the database, we use different languages. The first one was DDL, that was data definition language, and the second one was DML, that is data manipulation language. After that, we were remaining with the two topics, that is the database architecture and the overall structure of the database. So first we start with the overall structure of the database. So see, this is how your database actually looks like. It is divided into many parts, and each and every part have their own functionality. And each and every part is very important in terms of the entire structure. So the first part that you can see, or the first line that you can see, those are nothing but the different types of users who are going to communicate with this entire database. Okay. So first user over here is called as a naive user, NAIVE. Those are called as naive user. Now what is the function of that user? They are very unsophisticated user. That means they do not know such any kind of SQL languages. They neither know DDL, they do not know even DML, they do not know MySQL, they do not know Oracle, nothing. उनको कुछ coding आता नहीं है. So how do they communicate with the database? So they communicate with the database by the other application programs. So if somebody else has prepared that application program, they will be using that program, and then through that program they will be interacting with the database. So now what that application program can be, it may be a simple form in which they will fill some information, and through that information the data will be entered in the database. So to fill that information I should not have any coding, I do not require any coding. Let us consider the example of Google Form. तो भी आपको Google Form fill करने के लिए कोई coding लगता है क्या? नहीं लगता है. So if I am a user who is interacting with the database through that application called as Google Form, so I consider myself as a naive user. Okay, and what is that naive user? A very unsophisticated user who do not know any type of coding, but they know how to interact with the database, and they interact with any of the intermediate application like filling up the forms, and through that form they enter their data into the database. Okay, so those are the naive users. Now next we have is application programmers. What are application programmers? They are very professionals, the one who write the programs. So जो program लिखता है, they are called as application programmers. So tomorrow if you learn SQL programming, you are called as application programmers. Why? Because you know how to write the SQL programs, you know how to use that code to store the data, and you also know how to use that code to retrieve the data. So those users are considered to be as a application programmers. The one who know how to write the programs are considered to be as application programmers. Next are the sophisticated users. Who are they? They are the users who interact with the system without writing any programs. I am not going to write any program, but still I can interact with the system. How will I interact with the system? I will simply send a request. Some intermediate person will accept that request, collect the data for me, and then give the data to me. Okay. So they are nothing but the sophisticated users. So I do not know how to write the programs, but I can tell somebody else to write it on my behalf. That person will write it on my behalf, collect the data at his end, and then give that data back to me. Okay, so they are called as sophisticated users. Last are nothing but the database administrator. Now what is database administrator? They are the one who knows in and out of the database. जिसको database का back end भी संभालने आता है, जिसको database का front end भी संभालने आता है, जिसको backup भी लेने आता है, recovery भी करने आता है, who has access to all the different accounts of the users are considered to be as a database administrator. Okay, so they are also called as DBA. So DB for database and A for administrator. So they are the one who has the entire control of the data inside the system as well as the data belonging to the user. Is this clear to you, all the 4 types of users? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have naive users, we have application programmers, we have sophisticated users, and we have database administrator. So whatever these naive users, they were communicating with the database with the help of some interface. So what was that interface? It was through this application. So कोई भी एक application ले लो, like Google Form, through that they were interacting with this database. Application programmers क्या करते थे? They were writing the application programs, and with the help of those programs, they were interacting with the computer. What were sophisticated user doing? They were giving a query to somebody else, and that query was being executed by somebody else, and they were given back only the data. And what is database administrator doing? It is looking after the entire administration of entire database from all the user point of view as well as from the data point of view which is stored inside the system. So this line is nothing but the base through which these users are interacting with this database. Okay. Now this part, the first rectangular part, is nothing but the query processor. Now what do you mean by query processor? The actual way in which we are communicating to the database is through the query. So when I write a code, so we do not call it as a code in SQL, we call it as a query. If our system gives you the output, we say that the query is being executed and the output is being given. So now C++ में हम programs बोलते हैं, but SQL में we call them as a query. Therefore SQL का full form क्या है? Structured query language. So we as a user give a query to the system. System will execute that query and give the output to the user. Okay, therefore it is named as structured query language. So very important part of this entire database is a query processor. Okay, what are the parts of these query processor? Let us first see. The first one is the application programming code. This is what is compiler and linker. This is query evaluation engine. Then this is DML queries. DML is your data manipulation language query. This is your DDL interpreter. DDL is data definition language. And then this is your DML compiler and organizer. So this is again that DML is data manipulation language. So पहला क्या था DDL. Let us see first DDL interpreter. DDL interpreter क्या करेगा? It will interpret or it will read the DDL statement. अगर DDL में क्या क्या आता है? Create statement आता है. So whenever I give a command of creating a table, तो वो कमांड को रीड कौन करेगा? इट विल बी रेड बाय द डीडीएल इंटरप्रेटर. तो इंटरप्रेटर का काम क्या है? जो भी डीडीएल स्टेटमेंट्स आते हैं वो सारे स्टेटमेंट्स को रीड करके उसको रिकॉर्ड बना के रखो. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज डीएमएल कंपाइलर एंड ऑर्गेनाइजर. डीएमएल कंपाइलर एंड ऑर्गेनाइजर का काम क्या है? इट विल कंपाइल ऑल द डीएमएल कोड्स. कभी डीएमएल में क्या है? मैनिपुलेशन है. तो आई कैन update the data, I can delete the data, I can insert the data. So agar with respect to any database, if I am doing any DML execution, where those DML execution are being organized, they are being organized into this DML compiler and organizer. They are not executed there. इधर execution नहीं हो रहा है. Execution DML query करेगा, but store कौन करेगा? Store करके रखेगा DML compiler and organizer. फिर जब भी उसको execute करना है तब DML query एक एक query उठाएगा और उसको execute करेगा. तो एग्जीक्यूशन का काम किसके पास है? एग्जीक्यूशन का काम इज विद दिस क्वेरी इवैल्यूएशन इंजन. डीडीएल जो डेटा आएगा वो भी क्वेरी इवैल्यूएशन इंजन के पास जाएगा. डीएमएल का जो भी क्वेरी आएगा वो भी ये इंजन के पास जाएगा. सो लेट इट बी एनी टाइप ऑफ सेंटेंस टू बी एग्जीक्यूटेड और लेट इट बी एनी टाइप ऑफ क्वेरी फॉर द एग्जीक्यूशन, इट विल बी डन बाय दिस क्वेरी इवैल्यूएशन इंजन. इज दिस अंडरस्टूड अप टिल हियर?
यस मैम.
ओके, नेक्स्ट इज कंपाइलर एंड लिंकर. कंपाइलर का काम क्या है? आपका C++ में कंपाइलर का काम क्या करता है? जो भी इंस्ट्रक्शंस है आपके प्रोग्राम में, ऑल दोज इंस्ट्रक्शंस आर बीइंग कंबाइंड एंड दे आर लिंक्ड टुगेदर. सो सिमिलरली इन दिस SQL, when we write the queries, it is not only one query or two line of a query. There may be multiple lines of a query. So who is going to compile and link all these queries? It will be linked and compiled by this compiler and linker. Okay. And the last one is application program object code. What is this application program object code? Now whenever there is a source code, now many a times in front end we have different programming languages and in the back end we may make use of database. तो जब भी फ्रंट एंड में सपोज जावा प्रोग्राम है जो फिर बैक एंड में डेटाबेस से लिंक होकर आपको आउटपुट दे रहा है. So in such cases we are having some back end as database and in front end some another code who is going to look after the conversion from front end to back end and back end to front end. It will be done by this application programming object code. तो जो भी आपका मेन प्रोग्राम है उसको ऑब्जेक्ट कोड में कन्वर्ट करने का, उसको डेटाबेस से लिंक करना है, फिर डेटाबेस से जो आउटपुट चाहिए वो आउटपुट को वापस कंबाइन करके फिर प्रोग्राम का आउटपुट देना है. So in such cases we are going to make use of this application program object code, but we do not make use of this part when we are using only SQL queries. तो अभी जब हम फोर्थ लेसन में SQL queries एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे वो टाइम पे ये चीज का कोई जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट लिंकिंग इट विद एनी अदर प्रोग्रामिंग कोड्स. वी आर गोइंग टू यूज इट प्योरली फॉर SQL. इज दिस क्वेरी प्रोसेसर अंडरस्टूड टू यू?
यस मैम.
Okay. Now next we have the next rectangular box right below the query processor is storage manager. What do you have in storage manager? First one is buffer manager, next is file manager, next is authorization and integrity manager, and last one is transaction manager. So let us first see what do we mean by buffer manager. सबसे पहले storage manager क्या करता है? कोई यहाँ यूजर ने क्वेरी दिया, क्वेरी एग्जीक्यूट हुआ, उसके बाद वो क्वेरी हैज टू गेट स्टोर समवेयर, यस और नो, इनसाइड द मेमोरी. So what is the storage manager? It is nothing but the part where all your output or all your data with respect to the tables or with respect to any user data will be getting stored in this storage manager. Now that storage manager also has different components. First one is buffer manager. What is buffer? Buffer means something which is temporary. जब तक आपका फाइनल आउटपुट डिस्प्ले नहीं हुआ है तब तक बफर मेमोरी में वो डेटा रहेगा. Once it is written to the final output or once it is shown to the user on the screen, it gets removed from this buffer manager. So now if I have given a query to insert the data of Pratham into the table second year computer, तो ये query दिया user ने, ये क्वेरी इवैल्यूएशन इंजन वो क्वेरी को सेकेंड ईयर के टेबल में प्रथम का डेटा डाल देगा. उसके बाद जब तक वो आउटपुट यूजर को दिखता नहीं है तब तक प्रथम का डेटा किधर स्टोर है, इट विल बी स्टोर्ड इन दिस बफर मैनेजर. Once the data of Pratham is displayed to the user on the output screen in that second year table, it would be removed from this buffer manager. Therefore, we consider it as temporary. तो जब तक यूजर को दिखेगा तब तक, जब तक यूजर को नहीं दिख रहा है तब तक it is in temporary. Once it has been shown to the user, it will be removed from this buffer manager. Okay. Next we have is file manager. What is file manager? It gives the or it manages the file. Now what type of file management does it do? Allocation of the space inside the disk, what structure it is. Now it is not necessary that every time I may use relational database in the form of a table. Sometimes I may use ER model, sometimes I may use network model. So how is that structure, how the data is stored, हर एक मॉडल ने कितना स्पेस लिया है आपका मेमोरी में, इसका सबका इंफॉर्मेशन कौन रखेगा? It will be done by the file manager. So if I have used relational database, it will tell me that yes, the database used is relational manager. एक डेटाबेस बनाया है, एक डेटाबेस के अंदर 4 टेबल है, 4 टेबल ने 10 GB डेटा यूज किया है. So all this information will be stored inside the file manager. Okay. Next we have is the authorization and integrity manager. Authorization and integrity manager क्या करेगा? First of all, it will look after the authorization. Authorization मतलब क्या? Is the user valid to accept the data or not? Suppose if I belong to exam section and if I have created a table where all the information related to the question paper is stored. So can I give that access to you all? No. So you being a student are not authorized for accessing the data, but I being a teacher is authorized to access that data. So what is this authorization manager going to do? It will be checking that is the data being accepted by the correct user or not, or is the data being accessed by the correct user or not. So if you are not an authorized user, you will be rejected from seeing that data, but if you are an authorized user, you will be given access to that particular data. Okay, that is what is authorization. And integrity means what? It will check whether the data is correct or not. So if the data is correct, it will allow you to fetch the data, but if the data is having any kind of error or any kind of mistake, it will not allow you to store that data. Okay, that is what is integrity and authorization manager. Authorization will allow only the correct authorized user to access the data. Integrity manager will check whether the data is correctly inserted inside the table or not. Okay. Last is transaction manager. What does this transaction manager do? It will keep on checking whether the data is consistent all over or not. If you remember, I had told you one thing. In file system, there was no consistency. एक जगह पे data change हो रहा है, दूसरे 2 जगह पे data change ही नहीं हो रहा है. But what was happening in database management system? अगर एक जगह पे data change हुआ है, तो it is a responsibility that in remaining all other places, wherever the same data is stored, it has to change that data there also. So who is going to keep a track whether the data is consistent or not? It will be done by this transaction manager. तो अगर मैंने प्रथम का डेटा 4 जगह पे स्टोर किया है, and if I change it only in one place, what the system will not allow me to do this. Why? Because the database management system का transaction manager says that if you are changing the data of Pratham at one location, see to it that you change it in all the 3 remaining locations also. Then only you consider the database as consistent. Otherwise, your database is not at all consistent. Is this clear? What is storage manager?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the last part is nothing but the disk storage. Now, what is your disk storage? This is nothing but your hard disk. Okay, where your data is actually getting stored on the permanent basis. ये सब क्या था? Buffer manager और file manager. This was all temporary. एक बार आप टेबल डिलीट कर दो तो वो डेटा डीअलोकेट हो जाएगा या वो मेमोरी डीअलोकेट हो जाएगा. But if you're taking the same database backup in some hard disk, we call it as a disk storage. Okay. So what do we have in disk storage? We have data, that is your exact data, which you're copying as it is. So from the buffer manager, it will be copied as it is with on the permanent basis. You have indices. What do you mean by indices? Now, whenever you want to search a data, the index of that data is being made. Now, everyone has seen the reference book. Reference book का एक index page रहता है. Okay, topic chapter 1 is on page number 18. Chapter 5 is on page number 282. So if you want to go to chapter 5, will you start from page number 1? No. You look at the index, you look at the page number in the index, and you go to that particular page directly. So same indexes are used in the storage management also with respect to disk storage. So if you want to store a table of SYCO, so I have an index to that table, say SYCO index number 3. So whenever I access the data, what will system do? The system will search directly from the index and then retrieve the data to the user. It will not search the data from 1, 2, 3 and so on. वो डिस्क में पूरा सर्च नहीं करेगा, वो डायरेक्टली इंडेक्स फाइल में जाएगा, इंडेक्स फाइल से इंडेक्स नंबर लेके जिधर भी वो इंडेक्स मेमोरी लोकेशन है वो मेमोरी लोकेशन में जाके आपको डेटा रिट्राइव करेगा. So why are these indexes or indices used? For the faster retrieval of the information. Okay. Now what is this data dictionary? Data dictionary is nothing but storing the data about data. Data about data is called as metadata. So whenever I have metadata, I will be using data dictionary. Now what can be the example of metadata? For example, SY computer. SY computer के अंदर क्या है? First enrollment number, name of the student, address of the student, email ID, phone number, etc. etc. So SYCO is one data. उसके अंदर क्या क्या data है? The one which I just said. Enrollment number is a data, name is a data, address is a data. So address के अंदर क्या है? Actual data. So when I have such hierarchy of data, I call it as metadata. So who is storing the information about one data, then another data, and then third data in hierarchy? It will be stored by this data dictionary. And any data in such kind of hierarchy is considered to be as metadata. Okay. Then last we have is statistical data. Now what do you mean by statistical data? When I have data represented in some form of statistics, I call it as statistical data. For example, अभी आपके marks है for with respect to CO. So I have represented in the form of a bar chart that out of 160 students, 30 have scored above 50, 10 have scored above 40. So that is what is the statistical data. So if I want my data to be represented in some statistical form, I am also allowed that in my database management system. Okay. Is this entire structure clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have users on the top who uses these kinds of applications to access the query. Once the query is being executed, they are being stored in the storage manager and they are being stored permanently inside this disk storage. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next is the type of structure or a type of database architecture. Now we have two types of database architecture. One is the two-tier architecture and another is the three-tier architecture. Now in both the architecture, if you see, we have clients and we have server. So the left-hand side which you can see is two-tier, which was used in olden days. But now in the modern system or modern database system, we make use of this three-tier. In both the tiers, the first part of user and application is the client and the second part is the database system. Now what do you mean by client and what do you mean by server? The person who is requesting for the database from the database system is considered to be as a client. So if I am requesting for some user data from second year computer table which is there inside the system, so I am considered to be as a client. So your user writes a query and requests for the data from the database. So the user who writes a query is considered to be as a client. Who is server? The computer system which will accept the user query, search for the related information and then give the information back to the user. Those systems are called as server. Okay. So user and system are connected, or we can say a client and a server is connected either through a network or through a networking, any kind of interface, or they can simply make use of query for getting communicated or getting connected between both of them. Now what is there in the two-tier application? We have a client and we have a server. Both of them are connected through this network. User uses the application. Maybe it is SQL application, maybe it is some interface, maybe it is some GUI. So any application can be used by the user. So we have seen it can be application interface, it can be direct query, or it can be any intermediate between. So a user can use any of this application and then send that request through that application to the database system, that is to the server. What will the server do? The server will search for that information. After the information is searched through the same network, it will give an output to the client. So if I am a user, I have requested for marks of CO of second year computer students. So I will write a query like this and I will send that query to the system. System will search for second year student computer engineering table. It will extract the information of CO, and whatever information is asked with respect to CO, it will provide it back through the same network to the user. That is what is two-tier application. Now what is happening in the three-tier application? I have a user, I have application of a client, as well as I have application of a server. Here there was direct connectivity of the application with the database system. But here, for security reasons, I am not allowing the client application program to directly communicate with the database. If the client application wants to communicate with the database system, it will first have to communicate with the application server. तो जैसे यहाँ पे यूजर्स ने एप्लीकेशन यूज किया है, वैसे इधर सर्वर ने भी अपना एक एप्लीकेशन बनाया है. So user is sending the request through its own application. First, on the server side, it is not received directly by the database, it is being received by the application. It is a duty of this application to forward it to the database system. Database system will find out whatever was being asked for, and then it will retrieve that information and give it back to the user. Are you understanding? So for what was the drawback in this two-tier? I am allowing the application to directly get connected to the database. तो अगर मुझे एक बार database का access मिल गया, and if I have rights or if I am authorized to change the database, I can change this database, which is very dangerous. But here in three-tier, what am I doing? I am not getting directly connected to the database. I am only connected to the server. Server का भी application. That means again that application can be either a query or it may be any of the GUI or it may be any of the interface. So it is not allowing me to directly communicate with the system. So here I am providing that security which was not there in the two-tier system. Are you understanding this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with this, we have completed with the first chapter of the DBMS. So just in case of revision, what we have done is we started with the definition of the database. We had seen where the database can be used. We had seen the difference of previously used file management and DBMS. Right now, we had seen the drawbacks, we have seen the purpose, we have seen the advantages. Then we saw different levels of abstraction, that is view level, logical level, physical level, out of which the user can only have an access to the view level. Other access has been restricted to the user is logical level and physical level. Then we had seen what is instance and schema. Instances, whatever is available right now at this particular point of time is called as instance. And what is a schema? The overall structure of the database is considered to be as a schema. Then we had seen different model, object model, network model, then semi-structured model which is written in XML, relational model and ER model. Then we had seen what were the different database languages, DDL, data definition language, because of which how we define the language, that is how we define the entire database structure. Then we had seen the DML language, that is data manipulation language, how can we change the data either by inserting or modifying, that is what is DML. Then all this is the part of your database structure, that is this, and then we saw the two types of database architecture, that is two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture. In both, we have client and server in common, but only the way of representing the data is different. Is this understood up till here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So with this, we have completed with the first lesson of DBMS.